welcome back, guys, to the Beefcast. I'm Beef, and I have a special guest. Every single person here is a special guest, but this is really, really special because first of all, she is my best friend's girlfriend. She is a college student from one of the top four universities here in the Philippines, and she's a small-time business owner here who just started during the pandemic. And Lessa Zialcita, how are you doing?
Yes, hello. I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just finished dinner. It's around 9:30 in the evening, so it's a
Yeah,
kind of a
pretty
late
late.
dinner. What about you?
Mm.
Yeah, I was actually like very concerned about that small time business thing, like
Oh,
from the pandemic. How did that go about? How's that going along, rather?
well, so far it's doing well, mostly because it's a Christmas rush. So
Hmm.
lots of moms have been ordering like for their kids or if they have nieces and nephews and stuff like that. So it's pretty fun, like, because they're grow kits. So if you want to grow a plant,
Yeah.
check it
You
out.
you want to care to share more about what's that about?
It's a complete grow kit because a
Hmm.
lot of grow kits that I've seen on the market stop at a certain point of like a plant's growing period, I
Hmm.
guess. So my kit more of like it extends that. So you don't just get a starter, you already get like the full package, like until the end of that plant's life.
So you'd
So
say that's more of like the legit one, because
well,
like.
I wouldn't say legit because starter kits are also pretty legit, but I feel like they cater mostly to people who already have equipment at home.
Ah,
But I'm more of catering to people who have no gardening experience, no equipment whatsoever in their house. So it's
like
just
me.
complete, yeah, basically.
Like me, because
So
I've never been into gardening. No offense, like to the plantitos and
none
plantitas
taken.
out there. Like I've always wanted to though, because like it gives you a little bit of breathing space in the room,
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
it's very relaxing. And a lot of people would say that to me, and yeah, like a grow kit. I bought one before. It's the Venus flytrap grow kit, and I don't know if
Ooh.
it's legit or not. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't trust it since before. But the one I bought from you, it's been working well.
Oh.
Alex can attest to that. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Oh, I don't even know if she knows that I started that.
She
But
does. She does. I told
okay.
her that
Yeah,
it's my best
that's
friend's
great.
girlfriend.
That's
So yeah,
great.
best friend's girlfriend. By the way, so the reason why Alessa's here is not because of that title, rather. Yes, I know she's my best friend's girlfriend, and two, my best friend isn't here yet on the podcast show. Where the hell are you, Enzo? So
Where are you, Enzo?
we're gonna ask you where you are, and the third one is that she's one of the for Alessa's age, and I would say for her position in life right now, whereas she's a college student. She's one of the brightest youngsters that I've ever met. Trust me when I say that. And
Oh
that's one of the
gosh.
reasons why I invited you to this show because I don't I learned a lot from you. We barely get to talk, but Enzo tells me a lot about you and what you get to do.
Aw.
So yeah, you got to convince him to do these things and stuff. So
Oh.
I'd say for you at your age, what the hell was I doing? I think I was just playing video games.
Oh, that's fine too. We all go at life in our own pace.
That's true.
Hmm.
But like I would say right now what's your year level already?
I'm a junior, so
You're junior.
yes,
All
third
right.
year
So usually for your course you only have 1 year left, right? For 4 years.
Yes, I only have one more year. Hopefully, it's not spent
How's
in quarantine.
Oh yeah, definitely. So how's that going along though? Like school during quarantine cuz I heard from a lot of my friends that it's not that effective or like
No.
it's not as real though. So you tell me more
Mhm.
about your experience.
Well, I think personally, the school that I'm in is doing a pretty decent job naman
Mhm.
with the whole online school thing. I just, I don't feel like we're getting the most out of it,
Mhm.
rather than when we're studying in the classroom, because in the classroom you get to discuss And I think discussion is what's very important in face-to-face academics, schooling. But when it's all online, like if it's asynchronous, they just give you things to read.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard. One, it's very hard to concentrate, and two, reading does not give you room to talk to people about it. Because like I said, you learn a lot when you talk to people about it, like get new insights from other people. So I think that's like the big part of what's missing with online school. It's just different, and you don't really get the most out of it. Not only that, but at the same time, like so many students don't have proper means to access online school, and so that's something to think about also. If I have to be honest, like I'm not learning as much as I
Ooh.
hoped that I could. So that's all right. Like I'm trying my best, Parin. It's hard also because I mean I've told lots of people this before, but you're in your house, right?
Yeah.
And when you're home, the thought process is you're here to rest because you go home to rest. You don't go home to work. And so now that work is coinciding with rest, I guess it kind of messes up with your schedule as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like I'm home because I want to rest, but now I have to do work. So which do I prioritize first? And sometimes you end up not doing anything, or sometimes you end up working too much to the point that you don't give yourself rest anymore. It's hard to find a balance.
True,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like if especially with also in work. I mean, like if you get to just stay at home, like tendency is that you tend to oversleep, or like
Yeah.
you work after work hours and all that stuff. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
not really healthy when you consider that. That's why it's kind of difficult when it's in your situation. So you wake up at what time? Like you have a set time, but then right for school.
Not really. It depends on the prof, actually.
So it's not
It's
a set
Yeah.
like 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. You have to be online.
No. They have their own schedules, so
Ah,
I don't
damn.
know.
And that
It's
sucks.
hard.
I mean, like if you're just looking at the screen, I mean,
Yeah.
do you know it's bad actually if you just right now what we're doing is that we're talking. But then like if you just look
Well,
at the screen for like how long? Like
yeah.
how long are your class sessions usually?
Usually like an hour or an hour and 30 minutes.
And that's just for one subject.
There's some that are 3 hours though.
Holy shit. Like, that's just for one
Yeah.
subject, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Damn, you're getting
Last
subjects.
last quarter I had a class that was 3 hours every Saturday from 8 to 11. It was
Damn.
hard. So hard.
Wait, on a Saturday. Oh
Yes, on a
shit! All
Saturday.
right, that's tough. And I think one of the missing factors of school is actually the social interaction. Right? I
Yes,
think that's one of the
definitely.
that things that gets keep it going during school because like we're tired. We just finished the quiz. We want to know what the answers are from our other friends. Like parang,
Yeah.
to share around. But after
Mm.
this, you just log out, done. Then you're just off with your day,
Yeah,
and you don't know what to do.
exactly.
So,
I also miss the walking, like for
oh.
some reason, because I find walking from one class to the next a sort of reset.
Hmm.
Like I'm sitting in class and I'm concentrating on that class, and then it's the next class. So the walk is kind of like a breather to me. But then now that that doesn't happen anymore, it's kind of like one class to the next. There's no break, no
You're just
nothing.
sitting
Like I
down.
can't. Yeah, you're just sitting down, like log off. Okay, I'm gonna sit down, wait for the next class. It's tiring, more tiring than when we would walk from class to class. For some reason, it's draining.
Shit, for sure. And I think that, like, are you still close with your friends, like from school? Like, do you still get to talk as much, or are you
Not
guys
so
like just
much.
tired? Cause like,
I mean, we still do, especially since everything is online. I think it now calls for more interaction because
mhm.
we don't have face to face interaction. But at the same time, I don't want to put pressure on any of my friends to reply to me because online interaction is very draining. It is for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that we've gotten used to like when we're when we're in person. I'd say that's still, the energy. You get to feel the energy. But right now, when I'm looking at you, like, yeah, I get to feel a little bit of energy, but it's not like the physical energy, like, woo, right?
Yes.
Like, so
Yeah.
that's the missing part of it. And
Definitely.
yeah, I was kind of wondering, like, my best friend, not seeing you for a long time, like, throughout that whole period. How is that going along, especially like this COVID thing? I mean, like, thankfully, I would say thankfully that you met him before COVID, but
Yeah.
if you
Thank
would say
gosh.
like if you guys would be dating during COVID, it's not a go.
Um, Personally, I feel like dating or finding a spouse, wow, spouse? Partner. Finding a partner. I think finding a partner during the
Damn.
pandemic, like meeting them online only and
Mm,
not being face to face, can be dangerous. I won't say straight out that it's not going to work out because, there are exceptions.
mhm,
But it is dangerous to meet people online and form a relationship online because face-to-face interaction is still very important and essential, I guess, into getting to know the person more. Because when you talk to people online, you put on a persona, I
mhm.
think. Like, it's very easy to put on a persona there and very easy to like not reply, to think of your reply and all that. But when
Oof.
you're with them in person, it's very what you think is what you say, right? So
Yeah.
you have no time to prepare, and it's just very raw. It's a very raw interaction, and I think that's what makes forming a relationship like even more substantial when you're
Mhm.
in person because you get to see them, like feel their energy or their body language. It's very important when it comes to conversation because online it's so easy to take things out of context.
Yeah, that's especially that part where you said that it's easy for you. I mean, you get to think of a reply. I think that's one of the I'm guilty of that before, to be honest. Like
Don't worry, everyone does it. Everyone.
because I don't know, but a lot of people don't know this, but I was a really shy type of guy before. So I don't get to talk to women, and the first woman that I got to talk to was in my fourth year high school day. Before that, it was only my professors and my sisters I get to talk to, and my mom for sure. Those are the only girls I got to talk to. So
That's
like
fine.
thinking of that, deleting the text and then you think about it again. You can't do that in real life.
Mm,
Whatever you say comes out
yes.
of your mouth. It's the genuine, organic thing that
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
thinking. That's why one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I had to outgrow it. I had to try to outgrow it. And this is one of the reasons
Yeah.
again. I'm telling everybody, you're a bright mind because like you get to think of these already. Like at your age, at your age, I was doing nothing. I was playing.
No.
No, trust me. When I
Well,
look back at myself, I'm like, damn, I couldn't have done that.
I, I don't know. I guess I picked it up from like here and there. You pick things up from the people you surround with as well. So you learn things also from your interactions with other people, which is why again it's important to like interact with them not just online but in person too. So yeah, but you're right. During this pandemic, having a boyfriend, it's hard. It really is because I barely get to see him, and I don't like. There's no physical interaction whatsoever
Hmm.
except holding hands. So I can't even hug the guy. I
Oh,
can't even hug Enzo. But it's like we've been doing really well like like which is something I'm really appreciative of. I think the pandemic tests people's relationships now
hmm,
and tries to it tested us also and tries to bring out why we love each other. I guess there's no other like better way to say it, but I think it's a good way for couples to realize things about each other also. Because when you continuously see each someone, it's so easy to to be in love with them because you're always with them. Which is
hmm,
kind of why some people develop crushes solely because they're with them a lot, which is, like it's very common. So now that you don't see them a lot, what else is there besides
yeah,
physical interaction? that you love about them or makes you want to like stay with them, how then can you grow the relationship and help each other improve in the relationship without seeing them in person? It's difficult and confusing. And I mean, no filter, like we've fought, and that's fine. I don't want to be the person who tries to project a relationship as something that's perfect,
Mhm.
because no relationship is perfect. And fighting is totally normal. So yes, fights do happen, and especially now during the pandemic, because like I said, when you interact online, lots of things can get taken out of context. So it's very important to be very clear when you communicate with the other person, which is something I learned, I guess.
It's very well put. I mean, damn, that's a mature thinking right there. Like,
Thanks.
and yeah, on your age, I was heartbroken, so
Oh
it's a
no.
different yeah, it's a different aspect. Like the things that you get to talk about right now, especially with that. I think I agree with you. I totally agree with you with the pandemic. It's like another realization for you to do with your partner to reflect on one another's traits and personalities, because that's where you get to see your real self. All I mean, that's where you get to see his real self, and for in my case, her real self. Is that when you start to take things, to the next level? I mean, this is like living with each other every single day, because you talk to that person, right?
Yeah, of course. We talk like every day. But of
Every
course,
night.
yeah, ev- every day, every night. Well,
Jesus.
mostly at night, probably because he has work, and
All
I
right.
totally respect that. The thing with our relationship is that I'm a very independent person,
Mm-hmm.
especially like even in a relationship. I don't like depending on my partner for anything, even if it's like replies or something. I mean, it's okay to want attention. Sometimes I want attention. That's fine, but it's not like I'm dependent on it.
Uh-huh.
Like I made sure to establish with Enzo that I have a life and you also have a life, and I want you to live that life and I want to live my life. But at the end of the day, you're my partner, and I will always like come back to you, and that's what's important, I think. So
That's
it's
very.
okay to not reply when you're busy, because of course you have to concentrate on your own life, your own accomplishments and work and all that. As long as I know that he loves me and doesn't like
Aw.
love me any less, it's all good.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's very sweet. I mean, like this is a new thing for me, like this kind of side of the relationship. Because like when during COVID, I had a lot of friends who had broken up like during the
Mm.
pandemic, and oh no, like what do you think set you guys apart, or like what do you guys think you guys did right compared to what others did? Because a lot of them, to be honest, like
Mm.
they've given up. It's hard.
Yeah.
Times are hard. So when they say that times are hard, they get to relate the relationship as a hard or a little bit of an obligation now, and I don't think that's right.
Mm.
It went to different kinds of aspects like that. So what about you? Like what kept you going on for that? No filter,
Um.
Enzo. So just in
Yeah.
case you're watching,
No
like
filter. No
you gotta
filter.
know.
I think the most important thing to me, especially during these times, is to have no expectations whatsoever. Because the moment you put expectations on your partner is the start of disappointment, I guess.
Yes.
Because when when you have expectations from them and they don't fulfill those expectations, of course you're going to be upset. And I think that's also some of the reasons why people have been breaking up during the quarantine, because yeah, of those expectations. Not just that, it also has to it also might have to do with not having physical interaction,
Hmm.
because you also have to be careful with um the whys of your relationship. I'm just gonna call it that, the whys. So why did you get into the relationship with the person in the first place, right?
Hmm.
So if it's purely physical, then obviously during the pandemic you can't see them. It's gonna be
Yep.
really hard.
Things are gonna
Yeah.
change.
Because you can't see them, like
Yeah.
you can't be with them physically. But that's why I said that the pandemic really challenges couples now to really think about their relationships, because if they find it hard to not see them, what else can they hold on to about that person that will make them think that it's still worth it to be in the relationship? And
Exactly.
so if you can't handle not seeing them, what else is there you can hold on to? And that's what's important. You still find a reason to choose them every day. So it shouldn't be purely physical, and no expectations, because it's very hard to go about, like outside. It's so hard to go outside, like meet each other and all that, and that's totally fine. Like they can't buy you gifts, and that's totally fine. I guess.
Are you pointing
Uh,
out something that you need to
no,
buy?
no, 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 no. I'm not saying anything. It's just you gotta also understand your partner's love language, I
Definitely.
guess. Because not everyone loves the same way. So, because when you're with someone in person, it's so easy to be with them. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
You talk, and that's totally, like, that's fine. That's what people. That's like the basis, I guess. Very I don't know how to say it. I forgot the word, but it should be there that you can have a conversation with them. But like, there has to be something more than that. So your love languages, you gotta understand how they love, because if you don't love the way that they love, then you're gonna think they don't love you. I
Definitely.
guess.
And they'll
Right?
feel sad
So
about it. And a
yeah.
lot of emotions come in play. And emotions always get the best of our get the
Yes.
best of our minds. And I think
Yes.
that's another factor what keeps other people breaking up during this pandemic is that one person, you don't know what the other person's thinking about. I mean, their emotional status, right? And I think a
Yeah.
lot of anxiety and depression develop
Mm,
during this stage that you
yeah.
don't really understand for your partner. So what you said a while ago, I totally agree with that. And it's kind of hard. I don't know. Did you experience any sort of sign, like did you have a hard time with each other having anxiety problems during the pandemic that may have caused some issues between you two?
Yeah, definitely. Especially because being at home alone, you're with yourself, so you tend to overthink a lot about lots of things. Especially like when it comes to me with my academics, or Enzo with his work. It piles up. Like it's hard to deal with responsibilities again when you're at home, and you're supposed to be resting, but then you can't because there's just a lot of things to do. Like lots of things to do, and you're anxious about other things and etc. I think at that point, um, again, no expectations from your partner. You feel what you have to feel, but your partner is not responsible for that unless you get into a fight. Then, just kidding. No, but like your own personal matters. I think you shouldn't put an expectation on your partner that they have to solve it for you, because your partner can only do so much. Which I've told Enzo that before. Like, you can tell a person anything and give them as much advice as you want, but at the end of the day, it's that person's choice to follow it or not.
Ah, definitely. That
So
applies to both
yeah,
relationship and to friends.
yes, to everyone actually. So you shouldn't put an expectation on your partner or your friend or anything that they're gonna fix your problems for you, because they're not. And the moment you start depending on them to fix your problems, then it's not gonna work out, because they're not you, right?
Hmm.
They're not experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing. And so this is where clear communication, like, comes into play. You really have to talk to them about it. But if you're not comfortable talking about it, then that's totally fine. Just don't blame them if they don't understand that you're not in the best shape or state of mind, because you didn't tell them about it. They can't see you, they can't be there with you, so they can't feel that you're in a bad mood. And so if you're in a bad mood and you don't want them to upset you, just let them know. Because if they do upset you and you lash out and stuff like that, they're not going to understand that you're not having a good day or you're not feeling well because you didn't tell them.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
That's
Those are
very
my
well put.
sentiments.
I'd say I agree with you. To be honest, everything I agree except for the fact that Enzo is busy. Joke lang. No, he is busy.
He is. He's very busy.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like you can't really expect one person to give you all the time during this
Yeah,
whole thing. I think that's something
definitely.
that I get to relate also. Like a lot of people say that just because one person is busy, oh, I need some attention right now. You can't give that to me. I feel bad. No, sometimes
Yeah.
people are just really, especially during the pandemic. A lot of things are going. I'd say a lot of things are spontaneous during the pandemic, right? Things
Yeah,
can happen
definitely.
in and out, and you want
Mm.
to be able to catch up with these things. So that advice, no expectations, definitely works out with everything right there.
Yes.
What
So no
about
expectations, clear
what
communication.
about you right now though? Like how are you guys dealing with, it's almost the end of the year. Like can you imagine how many months have you spent at home without seeing each other? Oh, you've seen each
Well,
other during pandemic.
yeah, sometimes he would come to visit, but it would just be outside my house. Like he would never go inside because my mom would never allow it.
Okay.
But that's totally fine. Again, like I don't love him for the physical affection. That's not it. Like we've like the most we've done again is we've held hands, and then after that it's alcohol right away. But other than that, nothing. As in zero other kinds of physical affection. So it's hard, like especially like because like before the pandemic, I would see him at least once a week, but
Oh,
then now it wouldn't be once a week. It would be like once every 2 to 3 weeks. It depends like on how busy we are, or yeah. But it again, it's okay. I don't expect him to visit the house every week, pa rin, because yeah, it is tiring, and he's busy and the pandemic, so I don't want him to go out a lot either, because I don't want him to get sick or get other people sick as well. So yeah, we're doing all right though. Like it was bumpy at the start because
uh-huh.
we were adjusting, obviously, but then we've sort of adjusted into it, and it's been pretty all right.
Is it
Yeah.
okay if I get into that? Like, what is that bumpy stage that
Bumpy.
happened?
I think it was mostly just adjusting to our work
Hmm.
and like not replying to each other, because when you see each other once a week in person, it you kind of like are okay with not talking to them much online because you're gonna see them anyway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then now that you barely see them, it's kind of like, oh, if you don't reply to me, it's hard to be away. It's hard to like send something you want to talk about,
Hmm.
but get a reply like a few hours later because they're busy. But it's fine. But it was an adjustment. Not only that, like what I said, like when you're at home alone, you're with yourself, so you overthink a lot. So
Yeah.
me personally, I'm definitely an overthinker.
You're an
But
overthinker.
yeah, definitely super. It's it's, it's pretty crazy, kind of annoying every now and then, but gotta deal with it, especially now in the pandemic when I'm alone by myself. I can't keep myself preoccupied with a lot of things, so I'm really just by myself with my own like thoughts and stuff. So it's hard, but I don't like at first I was not communicating my feelings very
Hmm.
much, like, or I would communicate them in not the most clear way, I guess, and I would expect a response, like specific response from Enzo, but I shouldn't have done that because when you expect a certain response and don't get it, it's only gonna it's only gonna upset you more. And I know he meant well, naman. Like he always means well. Of course, why would you not want to mean well? But then
Right, Enzo?
like no, but it goes both ways. It goes both ways
Yeah.
because I've also had my mistakes, obviously, like when he's not in a good mood and I'm not doing my best to control that or help him. But I shouldn't have expected a certain response from him. But usually, like at the end of the day, like when I've calmed down or something,
Hmm.
I just tell him na lang, like, okay, like this is how I felt. and I shouldn't have expected it. But like maybe next time, you can ask me this first, or like,
Aw.
yeah, this is how I like being comforted when I'm in this kind of mood.
Yeah, at least you're telling
Cause
him, and that's good that you own up to your
yeah,
own mistakes. I think that's what a lot of people don't want to admit, to be honest, because
yeah,
it's kind of hard, to be honest, to own up to your own mistakes, especially when you're in
yeah,
when you're in the mood of that, right? Like,
of course.
I'd say a lot of people have a hard time with their pride, and
Mm,
the relationship, especially during a pandemic like this, tests really your pride. How low are
it
you gonna go,
does.
right? Like, especially the fact that you guys aren't seeing each other. I don't know. That's
Mm,
really hard. Like, I would say it's really hard. Dating in COVID generally is hard. The mental health that you have, the situation that you have, your mental state, it's kind of difficult. But what kind of advice, or what advice would you say, especially for those who just started dating during COVID? Now that, because you're ready before COVID, and
yeah,
how
we
about
already started dating
like in a
before
dating
COVID.
in a COVID kind of thing? Because like I think that's a little bit of challenge. Because I don't
Yeah.
know if you know, but a lot of events right now are like the one that you meet online, those kind of e meets, right? Something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
I don't know if you know that.
blind dates, but
Yeah, there's
online.
like blind dates. Like when you open up your camera, boom, it's me,
Oh,
Morgan. Like a lot of things are
interesting.
like that. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's like, damn, like what's happening to the world?
Yeah,
It's like a virtual Tinder, a virtual Bumble. Like
it's an adjustment. It really is. Oh, advice. um, that's hard because with like the boom of Tinder, Bumble, online interactions, it's so easy to really get into it because people think it's easy. You know what I mean? Like it's so easy to swipe and look for someone you're interested in to talk to. And again, like I said, it's online. You can prepare your replies, you can prepare your persona and hide behind a screen. But I think my advice for people who are trying to date or find someone in this pandemic and online and have no plans of any like face-to-face interaction, just be careful, I guess. And again, have low expectations. I wouldn't get into a relationship right away. Maybe try your best to wait it out and meet them in person first. And also at the same time, don't limit yourself to chat. Have like calls like this. Like this is also it's close to a face-to-face interaction, and that's what's good. Have calls. And I know lots of people, they don't really like calling, like, which is I'm guilty of that. I'm not a very call kind of person because I get scared that I'm gonna run out of things to say. I guess. But it's the best way to interact with them if you really want to get to know them in an online setting. Not only that, but be careful also of posers because
Ah,
it's so easy to
posers. Yes,
grab a
lots
picture
of
from the
posers out
internet.
there. Apparently, I'm on Tinder and on Bumble right now. So apparently, that's my persona.
Apparently
Yeah,
you're
but
there.
I have none. I have nothing to do with that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I'm talking about. Like when it comes to online dating, like it's not always
Mm,
the true thing, right? I mean, like
yeah.
it's still better for you to meet personally.
Yeah.
And yeah, like
Definitely.
like what you said. Dating right now, I'd stick with waiting. Like
Yeah.
if you were gonna give me an option, like I'd wait for this whole thing to end, because there's really no, for me, in my opinion, there's really no development when it comes to virtual kind of
Yeah.
like a conversation like this, until you meet that person. By the
Yeah.
way, you mentioned like this is the longest conversation that we've ever had. If anyone's
Yes.
also asking,
Fun fact.
I never really get to talk to Alessa because Enzo's there, and not in a bad position right there. But the way is just that this is the first time conversation that Enzo isn't in the picture, so I really appreciate it. This is also a test. Just kidding. This is not a test.
Wow, test.
Getting to know your best friend's girlfriends also tells you more about your best friend, on how he
That's
gets to
true.
choose the girl that he dates. And I'm really happy that he got to choose you in this kind of setting.
Thank you.
Good
I'm
choice, Enzo.
actually like, yeah,
Good
I'm
choice. If
I'm pretty lucky also. Good choice. Just shouting into the void. Oop, sorry, something fell.
it's
But just
okay.
shouting into the void, hopefully he hears you. Yeah, I find myself to be very lucky also to have Enzo as my partner. He's very understanding, and he's also the type to want to learn a lot. And that's one of the things I appreciate about him, because the more he learns, the more I learn, because he loves talking to me about it. So, he loves listening to Book of Life. I mean, watching Book of Life. He listens to like very inspirational things, like very life things, and I've I've I believe that being with him made me grow as a person even more, and I super appreciate that. It's one of the things, like, yeah, that I'm holding on to, like, in this pandemic. It's the fact that despite not being able to be with each other a lot in person, there like I still feel that we're constantly growing, like, and learning a lot from each other, and that's great, I guess.
Yeah, I
I'm
think that's
very
important. Like for me, like before Enzo mentioned this, I don't know if you remember, but the way that you treat your girlfriend or the girl that you're dating is more of like as more of a companion, also
Oh
someone that
yeah.
you can definitely be like a best friend, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you totally agree with that. Like that's how you treat the
Totally.
person, right?
100%.
So you
That's
grow
why.
together or you grow
Mhm.
individually. Like which one
Oh,
do you
that's
prefer?
a very good question. It's actually both, I
Okay.
feel. Like, cuz gosh, this is hard. um I think growth in an individual sense helps growth of the relationship, because you can't just grow the relationship and not have yourself grow as well. it's
Yeah,
it's
makes
more of
sense.
impossible. It's not
Hmm.
like you can't do it, it's just it's impossible. You're going to change and you're going to grow, and I think that's one thing that people complain about a lot when it comes to relationships, when they tell their partner like, oh, you've changed, you're not the same person anymore. It's like, well, yeah, what did you think was gonna happen, right? Because the more we live, the more we grow up. Of course, the more experiences contribute to who we are as a person. We're not gonna be the same. I'm not gonna be the same person as I was like yesterday. Like today, I'm a totally different person. And the moment you stop like accepting change is when things start going wrong. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
you can't put that person in a pedestal that you want
Exactly.
that person to be
Yeah.
exactly the traits that you want them to be, right?
Mm,
I think
yeah.
that's what a lot of us also would consider a common problem is that we have
Yeah.
these set goals for like or traits that we want to nitpick from our partners, and
Yes.
then if that changes because the person gets comfortable or the person changes,
Mm.
everything changes and boom, relationship down. So
Yeah.
I think
So
that
yun nga.
that's one of the biggest causes during the pandemic is because a lot of
Mhm.
people had developments with themselves during this pandemic. I had a development with myself. Like to be
Oh,
honest,
same.
I mean, you have your own reflections, right? Like you had your
Yeah.
own growth as
A lot
yourself.
about myself during the pandemic for sure.
That's good, and
Go,
that's nothing
go ahead,
wrong, to be
Michelle.
honest, right? I mean, that's not wrong.
Yeah, it's
It's
not. It's actually good, I think. It's a good thing to learn more about yourself as well, which is why, like I said, it's you have to grow as a person individually before you try to grow your relationship, because you have to learn more about yourself first, I think, before you try to do anything with the relationship. Because if the relationship turns out to be something that you actually didn't want, but you didn't realize because you yourself didn't focus on yourself during the relationship, then voila, it's there now. You made that change and you made that happen. Can't complain about it.
oh shit, that really hits deeply. Cause like to be honest, like at your age, the my my person my perception of love before was really just hopeless romantic.
That's
that
okay.
so the things that you were saying, like the growth and all that shit, like that didn't exist to me before. Because at your age, it was my first ever girlfriend,
Mm,
and I only
well,
had one legit ex in my entire life. So yeah, I don't really get to share this a lot, like my relationships ever. But this one legit ex of mine basically changed my own perception of how love should be. Because it can't just all be lovey
no,
dovey,
definitely not.
and the thought that you have in your head about that person, and if that person does something else, the one you said about expectation, boom,
Hmm.
your image of her is gonna get destroyed, and that's just gonna bring up a lot of toxicity in your relationship.
Mm,
As much as
trust
possible, you want to
issues.
avoid that. Yeah, trust issues. Shit.
Yes.
Lots of difficulty with that.
Yeah.
You get trust issues from my bro.
No. Quite frankly, I trust Enzo very, very much.
I trust him as well, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think hesitating. No, like really
Okay.
honestly, best relationship, and I've only ever been in one other relationship. But honestly, I told Enzo this. I was like, Enzo, I know I've only ever been in one other relationship, but honestly, I don't have to look throughout the whole entire world to think to know that this is already like the best I've had. And
Fuck. Quotable
it's great.
quotes. God damn.
No,
Shit.
it's really great. Like it I get relationships like some people they feel that it starts feeling like an obligation. I've never felt that at all.
Hmm.
Like not even when we were at our lowest, I guess, when we're not feeling our best or something. I never felt or wanted to leave him. There because to me it was like I'm going to choose him no matter what, and I know that he's gonna do the same, and I trust him that he will do the same. Hmm.
Aw. A little bit of a smirk over there, just to make things clear. But damn, I like what you said, and like I said, you guys gotta get a lesson in your life.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna start cloning.
uh, but that's the proper mindset. I believe that's the proper mindset, because there's a lot of definitions of how you want to love a person, right? Like it's
Mm,
on your own perspective. Like there's a lot of
mm.
perspectives on how you see it. So choose which one for you works best, right? Like that's something that you gotta tell other
Yeah,
people, because not everything is
and
also in your line,
yeah,
right?
not just that. You have to talk to your partner about it also.
Oh yeah.
Like if you have certain things that you want to happen in a relationship or boundaries that you want to set, you really have to talk to them about it.
Can't be one-sided.
Especially, yeah, it can't. It really can't because that's what sets your expectations. Nah, you think they're gonna just know what to do, but then they don't, right?
Yeah.
Because they're just as clueless as you are, which is why it's important to learn from each other and tell them how you feel, tell them how you want them to do, like to comfort you when you're not feeling your best or something like that. So I've told Enzo like 1,000 times about these things already. Like, because I'm the type that if I'm feeling bad or if I want to talk about my problems or something like that, I don't want people to give me advice straight
Mm,
off the bat. I'm really the type na just wait for me to calm down and finish whatever I have to say. Like reassure me if you have to, but then just wait for me to calm down before you start like giving me advice because once you start giving me advice, it's kind of like I stop like trying to release whatever I want to
I
release.
see. I see. So it's a good way of thinking it. Yeah, a lot of, especially also if you're not in the right mood or right state of mind,
Oh,
you're very emotional,
definitely.
and emotions
Mm.
play a big part, right?
Yeah.
Emotions play a really big part, because later on you're gonna be like, oh, what the hell did it just do? You're gonna go back and you're gonna say sorry
Mm.
because of something that you did, something petty that you did, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. I think like if you feel that your partner is not in the best mood, just keep in mind that whatever they say or whatever they do, they're just really not in their right mind, and you shouldn't blame them so much for it. Unless
Yeah,
they go like below the belt, you
yeah.
should say something about that. But
Sometimes
if
it's
it's
just
like
that it's
normal,
accidental.
yeah, yeah,
They don't really mean that. I mean, like, come on.
yeah. But it's hard talaga because like when you're upset, you want to release it,
Oh.
and so sometimes you do things that you didn't actually mean to do, or say things that you didn't mean to say. And I think you know we as people have to control that also. It's not your partner, again, it's not your partner's responsibility to what you call it, to just like stand back and let it happen
Hmm.
also, I feel. um that's why I said you have to set boundaries. Like you have to tell them, okay, I understand that you're upset, but what you said really upset me, what you did really upset me. I think it was a little out of line or something like that. You have to also make sure that they learn how to, like manage that, I guess. But it's hard. Everyone like releases their emotions in different ways. I just feel
Yep.
like it shouldn't be to a point that you hurt the other person in like a way that is not easily forgivable, I guess.
Yeah, like especially the
Like
revenge kind
especially,
of
yeah,
mindset. That's not good. Like you want to get back at
especially
them
when it
now.
gets physical or something. Yeah.
Oof. Physical relationships are always the scariest. I would say that's a red flag. Like violence
That no, it's
involved.
it's not a red flag. It should be
It
the
should.
the exit door. That's what it is. It's not a red flag. It's the door to
Oh
leave.
man, that is so not good. And I would say that a lot of people experience that at least once in their life. Like that
Yeah.
kind of violence is just not good.
But I never blame the victim. It's hard. It's a hard thing to get out of talaga. And I can't imagine because I've never been in that place. But for me, I feel that it's just what they believe to be love. And like I said, everyone views love and loves in different ways. And they might view toxic traits as something that's love, and it's not something that they can control either, because that's how they were taught, or that's how they grew up knowing. And it's hard to tell them, no, just leave. Like, no, it's not that. You can't just tell them to leave, because they need a little bit more than that. Kind of like
Yeah.
when people open up, you can't just tell them to be happy. Like,
Hmm.
oh no, wala lang yan, like just be happy. No.
What's your
So
advice
yun,
there?
my advice there is to
Yeah.
listen.
Wow.
Just listen. Honestly, most of the time when people open up about their problems, they just want to be listened to.
Hmm. They just want to be heard.
Because,
I mean, they want to
yeah,
talk.
exactly.
They
They
just
want to
want to
be
rant
heard.
out around, right? They just want to say all those stuff, and then that's when you get to assess the situation. Because I don't know, for me, like when you listen, and then the more that they keep talking, the more that they start realizing them, the victim, they get to realize it themselves that oh shit, what I did was wrong. Yeah, maybe this is something like it's giving a little bit of calming down in that sense, right?
Yeah. So yun nga, like I said, you can tell a person anything and give them as much advice as you want. But if they themselves don't, choose to take it, then it's not your fault either. But it just, I mean, in terms of like toxic relationships, like I said, you can do as much as you can, but you can't blame them either if they don't take it, because you're not them. You don't know what they're thinking or how, like, what they're feeling. It's not so easy for them to just leave like you want them to. I guess.
So if anyone's watching this in that sense and you're in a relationship status, you guys better take note of these, huh? Like especially you, Enzo, now that your
What?
girlfriend has spoken. She's actually giving me dating advice about this, and yeah, thank you so much.
Oh well, you can ask me any question,
Can't believe I'm
honestly.
being taught or given advice by a 20-year-old.
Well, I wouldn't say we're that far in
Yeah, I
age.
wouldn't say. Yeah, I
I
wouldn't say that.
6 years isn't that bad.
It's just that, to be honest, like a lot of my experience from dating, it was a little different sense. Like a lot of the failures came from both ways. So I admit I have some
Hmm.
flaws, and I think my immediate flaw would probably be like sometimes, for some reason in my life, I would want to be left alone. Like, just want to
Mm.
have your time. I think that's one of my flaws that I get to insist on others. Like I want some time for myself, and I try to do that as much as I can. But yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there, right?
That also sort of like sometimes when I'm not in the best mood, I just don't talk to anyone.
Yeah,
I
you
kind
just want
of
to be
like
left alone.
keep myself away from the world. But again, I mean, if you have a partner, you have to let them know about it. And
Right.
if you're going to like keep yourself away from them, you also have to let them know. I mean, it's not really your responsibility naman to really let them know. But there has like since they are your partner, you still, have a okay, you do have a responsibility sort of.
Yeah.
But not a responsibility, okay, not a responsibility to explain yourself.
Yeah.
But you do have a responsibility to let them know that it's not them,
Hmm.
because people tend to overthink. Yeah, so
And you're
just gotta let
giving
them
that
know that, hey,
person that idea that, oh shit, it might be my fault or whatever, right?
yeah,
So
exactly. I've experienced that before. um but we don't let's not talk about that. Just
oh
kidding.
yeah, definitely no problem. I mean, like
No,
I
just
said.
kidding. It wasn't anything naman. Like it wasn't like I was in a relationship with them. I guess we liked each other.
Hmm.
This was like way back. I was probably like 14 or something. I don't
Whoa.
even know. But I mean, we liked each other. That was great. So, but there wasn't a lot of communication, and so I think that's where things went wrong. So yeah, it's good not
Mm,
to communicate that when you're upset, you have to tell them it's not you. You don't have to give details, but as long as you assure them that I'll be back, it's just I have to deal with it on my own first, but I'll be back. Then
this is
that's
where the
totally
line comes in. That it's not you, it's me. I think that's
fine. Oh, yes,
the most basic line that ends
it
up either
is.
breakups or like fights. God damn it.
Yeah. No, but
Well,
usually I tell Enzo naman, like, yeah, I'm just trying to take time to myself. Like, I just have to breathe first and just stay away from my phone or something. And he totally understands.
damn, that's to be honest, this is a very insightful event for me. Like, you know, a lot. It's been a while since I had a conversation like this, and the fact that this is coming from my best friend's girlfriend, it's kind of like a bit weird because like I'm like a barrier that you have to. You pass the test. There you go. I'm just saying it. You pass the
What?
test.
Thank you.
You get to date my best friend. That's good. But yeah, a
I
lot of
already am. You don't have a
right.
choice.
No,
Joke.
no permission.
No, no, of course. But honestly, I already told Enzo, I was like, Enzo, your friends are my friends, and I will treat them as
Aw,
such. Yeah,
damn.
of
Well,
course.
I'm very thankful to have you here again. By the way, like just to get him.
Thank you. I'm thankful that you invited me here.
Definitely, because like
Yeah.
I said to you, the reason why I invited you is because you made an impact to my life. How? Through Enzo, because Enzo makes an impact in my life, and I guess right now I can say that we don't need Enzo anymore. It's just that you're making a direct impact to me.
Oh
Like, don't worry.
gosh.
Enzo. No, I'm kidding. I wonder what he's gonna say though. Like
Straight from the
if we get
source.
yeah if we get to get him on the show one of these days.
We should. We should. I think that would be a pretty interesting conversation as
Oh
well.
yeah, I want to do like I want to see you guys fight.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Nah, nah. But yeah, I'm sorry, but we gotta wrap up the show in a bit.
yep.
But it has been a while, like since I saw you, and thank you so much for joining today.
Thank
A
you
lot
as
of
well.
relationship advice from that. Do you have any final words that you
Yes.
gotta say to anybody watching this?
I think my final words would have to be I'm not a professional. Just kidding. No, I'm not a professional. So, the things that I talked about in my relationship might not apply to you, and that's totally fine. So, never compare your relationship with other people's relationship
That's
as
right.
well. Just take that into account. Take my advice with a grain of salt and Beef's advice with a grain of salt. Anyone's advice in general with a grain of salt, because you gotta really make sure that it applies to you. If it doesn't, it's totally fine. It doesn't mean that you're like not not doing things right, because we all
And
do
at the
things
end of the
differently.
day, it's still your choice if you take
Yep.
this advice or not, right?
Yep. Exactly.
The reason why I brought Alessa here was not to give you straight up advice or to direct you to do
No.
something. This is just for you to help you out excuse me, through any of your issues if you're going through something, right?
Yeah, anything at all. If you find something that helps you, then that's great. If you find something that doesn't, then that's fine either. That's fine. It's fine either way. I can't English
It
anymore.
should be fine. No, it's fine. This is like the longest one of the longest conversations I've had, like without Tagalog. Yeah, because the last speaker
Well,
we had, Lance, is funny. A lot of f
yeah.
bombs also. So like there's a
Oh,
clean conversation.
yeah,
Like
of course.
thank you for that. Really appreciate it. So screw you, Lance, and thank you, Alessa, for for that. If people would like to follow you or maybe check your content out, where can they find you?
um, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if you want more advice, you can just check out my TikTok na lang. So it's
Yes,
just
TikTok.
ale.zia. Alessa.zia, I think. Yes.
Alessa.ca. All right, I'll put that up in the description. But again, thank you so much, Alessa, and I
Thank
hope
you as
everything goes
well.
well with your studies and Enzo right now.
Yep, doing good so far. So far.
You have a message for Enzo that you can do publicly?
um. All right. Enzo, if you're listening, I love you.
Damn. All right, we gotta end the show right here.
Goodbye.
All right, but again, thank
Yep.
you everyone, and you guys have a good night. Alessa, you have a good night as well, and
And you too.
take care. Bye bye.